Everyone good? All right, we welcome Oregon State Beavers. Congratulations. Head coach Scott Rueck, Raegan Beers, Donovan Hunter. Coach will have you open, and then we'll take questions.
Okay. Well, I was obviously very happy for our team that we found a way today. I thought Colorado played great. It's always tricky having the bye a little bit. They're coming off a feel-good win yesterday, accustomed to the arena momentum, and we're coming in, wondering how we'll play a little bit, and certainly hoping for the best. But it's always a little bit of a feeling out time, it seemed, and that was the case early, and I thought they just came out so strong. We were looking around offensively just a little bit off, and give them a ton of credit for that. I thought Colorado played great all day. And then it was nice just to see us settle in a little bit, and then it was just back and forth, and then they got control in the second half. And I remember looking up, and we're down 11, and it didn't feel good, and it didn't look good. But this team has found a way all year. And a 7-point deficit with 1:50, a 5-point deficit with 25 seconds. Nothing's really seemed to faze this team. They just continue to find a way. They continue to believe, and they just have so much fun competing. And it was just a collective team effort today. We had huge performances throughout our roster. First off, I'll just say Sherrod was just, a beast today, just willing them. I mean, it was just like drives to the basket, hit huge shots, tough shots. Ray and Von Lay just going at it underneath the basket, and then everybody else just filling in gaps, it seemed. And so, it was a fun chess match, but this team, they wanted it, and they never gave up and just made the plays down the stretch, got the stops down the stretch, and I just couldn't be more proud of the way they competed. Also, I couldn't be more proud of the sea of orange that to play in front of today. It was amazing to see. Not surprising. If you've been around for a while, it's kind of what Beaver Nation does for us, but it was so beautiful to walk out and see that support today, and it helped carry us, through a long, tough battle. And, so it was just a great win and really proud of the team.
Thank you. We're going to do a quick question from AP so he can get back out to the next game. Willie?
Scott, Willie Ramirez with the Associated Press. Back-to-back questions here. We could talk about Raegan 27, to me with the double-double, but the young lady sitting next to you, I thought in overtime, on and off the ball, had just showed such poise in both extra frames. She comes up with a key defensive stop against Sherrod. Can you just talk about the poise that Donovan plays with?
Yeah, it's what we're accustomed to. And those people that have been watching all year long just know that this is a true freshman that plays like a true senior. Just the poise that she plays with all year has been amazing. Coming over and talking and just, wanting to be coached, understanding, learning, and then just shedding any mistake and just adapting her game. Nothing lingers with her, and it's such a great example to all of us. Just next play mentality, and then has the confidence to rise to it, the ability to rise to it, and come through for us when we've needed it most on both ends of the floor.
And then Donovan, for you, fantastic game. Just when you look at the complexion of your whole season, then you approach game one for your first Pac-12 tournament, and it's the league's last tournament, right? Just some of the freshmen in this league, and your star obviously emerging. Can you just talk about how the regular season prepares you for your first tournament game, and just what it's been like leading up to this point?
Yeah, our conference is such a good conference. We talk about it in practice. Every single game, you don't get a break. So I think that alone, especially as a freshman, you're going to have mistakes. I've definitely had mistakes, and there's growing moments. And so I think each game that we've played, I've learned something. I've stepped away from the game and actually, knew that I could take a small or even a big moment from the game and learn from it. And I think it's really just going down to learning the grit. We talked about it in the locker room. I've learned that the most, and that helps prepare for, this tournament. You don't know what to expect besides it's going to be a fight every single time. Everyone's back to 0-0. It doesn't matter what happened in the season, the regular season. So everything has helped me grow up to this point.
All right, we're going to go Lindsay, and then Alexis, Nick, and then we'll hit this side.
Lindsay Schnell, USA Today. This is for Ray and Scott. When Dom hit that corner three, she didn't shoot great from three tonight. Unusual for you guys. But Ray, first of all, were you surprised that she put it up? Did you think she was going to go back into you? She's the only person that hit multiple threes. And Scott, what were you thinking also on the bench?
You know, our shooting has been consistent recently. As you said, tonight wasn't our best night. But I trust my guards to hit those shots. They've been doing that all season long. They've been doing it in Gill. They've been doing it on the road. And so I trust my guards to hit that shot. So I wasn't surprised when that went up, and I wasn't the least bit surprised when it went in, because our guards are capable of that, and they've been showing that all season long. So
I would say, that was out of a timeout. And during the timeout, I knew what I was doing, drawing up, and I contemplated putting people who are known as shooters in those spots, and I just decided not to. I think AJ was in one corner, and Dom was in the other, and Donna was controlling the ball, and so there's something about Dom that, well, both of them, because they both hit huge shots in this game, but there's something about Dom that she's just such a competitor. And while she's not just a pure three-point shooter, she's a basketball player. She's an attacking guard who can knock the perimeter down. There's just something about her where you have so much confidence in those moments. And so I can't say, anybody that saw our Cal game down there, we were down early in the fourth, and she just took the game over. And part of that was hitting 2 big threes. And so today was another example of Dom rising and doing whatever it took, for her team to win.
Scott, Alexa Philp with ESPN. You mentioned your team always finds a way to win. Where do you think that comes from, especially a group that's relatively young and inexperienced from the college landscape?
Yeah, we just talked about that too. I think that comes from losing. I really think it does. Tamia mentioned it in the locker room just a minute ago. She said, a year ago, we probably wouldn't have found a way. And I said, why? Why could you now? And they just, well, because we want it. And no, because you learned how. And winning's a skill. And, you have to kind of go through some hellish moments, to kind of really understand what it takes. And then you realize, oh, we can do this. And we have the talent to do this. We have the know-how. So this is actually something that we can control. And this group is so competitive. They want it so bad. Last year hurt so bad, coming up short so many times. And so you're seeing this just evolution of this group forming where there's talent, there's a desire, and now just the mindset and the know-how, to get it done when it matters most.
Nick Daschle from the Oregonian. Scott, you're down 50-38. Several times during the last 7 weeks, you've had these incredible rallies in games. What were you thinking at that point? I just wonder what was going through your mind at that point. Were you thinking back to those moments, or?
Well, all day long, tournament's different, and so you can't come in with expectations as a coach. You can't say, oh, we've beaten Colorado twice, we should win again. That's the completely wrong mindset, in my opinion, in my experience. It's like, I'm here to help this team on this stage. Many of them, it's new to many of them, and Colorado's a team that's obviously very good and talented. Mad that we've beaten them twice, probably, and wanting revenge, and they played yesterday. So my whole mindset today was help them. I'm just here to help them be what they need. There was a time in the first half where I felt me to get mad. It's just like, what are we doing? Like, we're not competing like we need to. And I'm mad right now. And they needed that in that timeout. Is what I felt. During that stretch, that's not what they needed. They needed me and our coaching staff just to encourage them and to problem solve with them and to remind them there's lots of time. And I told them today, we were down 7 and found a way with a minute 50. We're down 11, and it was a little bit after that, I guess, but we're down 11 with 8.5 to go, or 8:40 to go in the game. We can do this, but it's now. It has to be now. And so we just stayed total process-oriented and strategic in our thinking, and it wasn't about motivation anymore. I know they want it bad, and they were trying as hard as they could. And so it's just trying to find ways. And, our small lineup ended up being really effective, in this game, which was, it's something I didn't really see coming, actually, with Tamia at the 5 and giving Ray a break, was a lineup that was a really challenging matchup for them, and it sparked us during that stretch. And, who knew? So it was just, let's just keep trying, keep finding a way, and then believing that it's possible.
Jeff?
Hi, Jeff Metcalf, Pac-12 Hotline right here. I just wonder, could you talk about setting up the play that Perova made that three-pointer? Was that what you designed? And just talk a little bit about that. And then also, when you took Raegan out, you just alluded to that right there. I'm assuming it was just exhaustion. She missed the 2 free throws. And then just how that played out after you took her out, because then you kind of put the game away at that point.
Yeah, well, Aaronette was still in the game, during that stretch. And so who was she going to guard? She had to guard Tamia. And a couple of the biggest baskets in this game were Donovan's layups when they didn't want to leave Tamia because they're everybody's scared of Tamia shooting the ball, and that was clearly a priority for them to try to disrupt. And so that opened up the basket. We came out of that timeout for the play that you're alluding to, and they had switched, and they'd put Aaronette on somebody, I can't remember, somebody different. And so we didn't quite get the look that I wanted, but Dono's, Dono. And so she has a way of going by people, and she found a way to create an advantage, which drew help. And, our spacing was excellent, I thought, all day today, and it was in that instance which created that shot for Dom.
Second row.
Eden Lassie, Yahoo Sports. Raegan, this one's for you. Your coach was mentioning, last year there were a lot of moments where you guys came up short, and that helped you learn. In those games and during that stretch, were you able to kind of identify that, hey, there's lessons to be had here, or when did that kind of realization come?
For me, I think it came when we lost to Arizona at Arizona last year. That was a tough one because we were up by 7 with no time left, and then they came back and hit those shots, and then they won, and it was just, what's going on, So, but a lot of those games we took something from that, and Coach alluded it to in the locker room. Just we didn't know how last year. We wanted to so bad, but it was hard. And this year we know how. We know what that feels like. We don't want to feel that. And we have all the pieces. Obviously, a great point guard freshman coming in, and then Tamia coming back for a full season, just rising and doing everything right. And then, of course, Talia leading us as a team have just been great throughout this whole season. So we're ready to keep going.
Blake Neiman, Blaze Radio. Raegan, now being back for your second straight game after that injury that you had with the nose, how did you work through that, and how do you feel you are just physically working through the game?
Well, I had a great team around me telling me to take care of myself and whatever I needed to do to take care of myself. So when I didn't come to the Washingtons, I was sad not to go, but they were all understanding and realized that I needed to stay home to get myself healthy in order to come back quicker. And so I had a great team around me, a great medical staff, Oregon State, all the support in the world with my teammates and coaches that just wanted me to get back quickly as possible. And if that meant staying home, then that's what it meant. And so I'm happy to be back. I'm happy to be back on the court with this team and get a win.
Okay, we're going to go in front row and then up back, and then we'll come back to the front.
Susan Shaw, Forbes.com. This is the last Pac-12 tournament. What did it mean to all three of you to pull out a win like this in the very final tournament?
I would say it was just unreal and exciting. I mean, obviously you said it, the last Pac-12 tournament. It's kind of sad to see the tournament go and this conference go because it is such a unique conference and there's so much competition that you get to see every single night. But it meant a lot to get a bye this year and then get that win tonight against a team who was really good and came to play tonight. So we're excited to keep going tomorrow.
I mean, to add on to that, we work all season to get to this point. I mean, I grew up watching these tournaments, so it's surreal being a player in it, let alone to win this first game. But it comes down to we've put our whole entire efforts into getting to this point. So I'm just really excited for my entire team that we're able to be here and compete and advance.
Well, year 14, it's been a while. And so last night 2 nights ago, I guess, we got out on the court for 30 minutes once we got down here. And I was standing out there at center court and just bouncing the ball out there as everybody's getting shots up, and it was just a low-key time. But just looking down at the logo, looking at the hashtag that's on the court as well, and just, for me, knowing, that it's the end, it's still a bit surreal because it's all I've known my whole life, being a native Oregonian and a fan of Oregon State for every year I've been alive. To realize, wow, this is it. It kind of doesn't seem real. And then it just turns into gratitude, and I'm just happy to be a part of it, and what an honor it's been all these years, it's from LA to Seattle to Vegas, being a part of this tournament. And so you want to perform well for sure in it. Okay, if this is the end, let's go out in style, and do the best we can. And so that just puts maybe a little bit more emphasis on everything, because, it is the last time. And so it makes it even more special. But never take a win for granted, and especially in the last year of the conference.
Brett Taylor, KZI 9 Sports. Donovan, this one's for you. Back when I was at KDRV down in Medford, I covered a couple of your games at South Medford High School. It's kind of a double-edged question. One, how much do you think your time at South Medford kind of helped prepare you to be ready for moments like today? And what does it mean for you to be here in this moment and not only, of course, represent Beaver Nation, Oregon State women's basketball, but also represent South Medford High School, Medford in general, and your hometown and all the people that know you?
Yeah, I'm gonna hit the second question that you asked first. It means a lot. I know I have a lot of Medford fans watching these games. My high school coach, Tom, he watches the games. Just extremely proud of what I've been able to represent, my hometown for. And then, high school, you learn a lot. I would say the biggest thing I've learned is the leadership aspect. Although being a freshman, you wonder where do I fit in when it comes to leadership, because you get into the program at first and you don't know your role. It's helped me learn, especially in the point guard position. With these games, you got to step up at some point. So I think South has helped me, flip that switch in my head, knowing the time that I need to step up and not just play my role, but actually make a difference within the game. So I would say that's the biggest takeaway I've taken from high school. But I know Medford's watching these games. My friends are all happy for me. So it means a lot.
We'll take one last question in the front here.
Sabrina Merchant, The Athletic. Scott, yesterday Natasha from Arizona State was talking about how the coaches in this conference have all checked in on her, and you in particular, as she tries to build the program down there. I was wondering, in the time that you've been in this conference, how have the coaches in this league helped you, and even throughout?
That's a great question. The first thing I did once I got hired, out of Division III Siberia, was head to Chicago to recruit, not knowing why I'm even there. Everybody's going to Chicago. I heard that, so book me a flight to Chicago. I didn't even have a target to recruit other than some teams I knew of, because AAU teams don't send their players to D3 schools. They didn't anyway. And so I walk into this sports complex, and I walk to the first court, and we're overlooking the courts down below, and out on my left is Tara Vanderveer. Well, I'm just a fan. I don't know Tara. She's Stanford. I'm D3. And she welcomed me and said she was, glad to meet me, and looks, just anything I need, let her know. And that set a tone that has maintained. And this conference has had so many amazing coaches, and it's been, I don't see the rivalries. They are rivals, but I see them as colleagues. How many of us do what we do? There's so few people that know actually what our lives are like and what we do, and we all have that. And while I can't sit here and tell you that, I trust every single person with every single thing, of course not. We're all competing. I love the camaraderie that we've had. And it is warm. It has been warm. And there's just massive respect, throughout. And that's always been the case. And so for me, I've felt included from day one. I've felt supported. I have felt respect, mutual respect. And it's been, a great joy. That part of it has been a great joy for me, because, you're competing against, just incredible people and incredible coaches that pour their lives into this. And that's not just our conference, but that's nationwide as well. And so it's just a massive blessing to be a part of, and so I've just felt from day one, part of it.
Okay, I think that's a good way to wrap. Thank you,
so
everyone.
much.
Thank
Go
you.
Beavs.
Go Beavs.